morning, all. Very a wonderful day today. And I am here, Suma Sridhar. I am a life transformation coach, a soft skill trainer, speaker, and an author. And today we are discussing about the wonderful topic, a great parenting tips and how to see the child through their perspective. So I have here invited Dr. Mrudula, a psychologist and an educator from past 16 years. She has been into that industry and she is going to give a beautiful tips today where all parents would be having a lot of doubts and queries and you can be, it will be very useful for you. Let's get started. Welcome you, Mrudula. A wonderful session today.
Thank you, Suma.
Yeah.
I would like to start with a small quote from Dalai Lama. He says that it is vital that when educating our children and in their brains, we do not neglect to educate their hearts. We need to educate children, of course, but with emotional connect. So, not being afraid to look foolish by the child in your presence is very, very important. The child should not feel that I am fool, I don't know anything, I am hopeless, or I am useless, I can't even do a small thing. These are the factors, these are the things that a child might think if our behavior as an adult shows that they are, or we belittle them. When we belittle them, that's where the confidence level of the child will come down. If we have to increase the child's confidence, we need to connect with children emotionally so that we can see the world from their perspective. Filling the generation gap. Next one is like filling the generation gap, wherein we, from generation to generation, we follow different kinds of rituals and customs. And these customs, beliefs, skills, and values are passed on to the new generation. Within the family and with knowledgeable members of the community, this is very, very primary for the child to have such ecosystem around. This ecosystem which will gear or key the child's behavior in future. Like Sigmund Freud says, the first 5 years of the child are very vital, and that's how the personality is defined as an adult.
Actually, I would like to ask you here the same question I had from many of the different viewers that many parents has, because I was into teaching profession and been an educator. So they had these queries why they are very confident at home, but when certain situation they are not able to cope up and they feel very inferior to themselves and they are not able to do it. So then I heard in the survey and the psychological research that first 7 years, like 5 to 7 years, whatever may be the time span between 0 to 7 years, how it is very impactful. And I'm also curious to know about that actually.
Definitely. I will take you through the different developmental stages in few days, in few of our series. However, for now, what I would like to tell you is like we need to set up boundaries on what to encourage, what to discourage, where to encourage the child, and where to teach values and ethics for them. Right? So this is where the child learns how to behave in the society. It's called social emotional learning, wherein the child knows how to express emotions. It's very important because you know it as an adult, I know it as an adult. When we subdue our emotions, what happens to us? Any person will burst out.
Becomes stress and
the child, when absolutely. So that's why they say mother is the first teacher and family is the first school, right? When you have a mother who can take patience, who expresses the child in a way that they can understand it well, then the child's learning would be more holistic. Now, I would like to say that setting up boundaries, I remember when my child was very young, my cousin sister used to say, "You are on scanner." Because whatever I speak, he used to repeat. Whatever I say, he used to respond or comment on that particular connect, whatever we are discussing on. So I very much remember when we were young, our grandmother used to tell, I had a brother who was crawling at that moment, And she used to say, whenever guests used to come, she used to say, go get some water. So the child used to go. You should give that adult responsibility. You shouldn't say he's a child or she's a child, they don't know how to do it. This will not give any good fruitful decisions. However, keeping that in mind, we should also use a few things like how to take risk. What kind of risk can be taken? And if we overprotect them, what happens is they will not understand the meaning of resilience. They will not take failures the way they are supposed to take, right? They will be using emotional burnouts very fast. They will not be in a position where they can take what is happening in the big bad world around us, because however much we try and see that the child is very much protected in the house, but what about while he is transit to school or any other place, while he is in any other situation or institution where you are not there? So the child should become independent, right? It is
Absolutely.
a lot of working mothers feel bad or guilty that they are leaving their children in the creche or daycare centers and care centers. Uh, it is definitely an emotional turmoil for a mother. However, you are making your child independent. It is important that the child understands and learns this. Okay, if you think that there are enough people in your family, like joint family system, when it was there, we didn't require a child care center. However, today we are into nuclear families where we need to take care of that. And
Yes.
no mother or father should feel guilty that the child is in a daycare. However,
Here,
please
I
take
would like
minimum
to share
measures.
my experience also. I used to
Sure.
leave my daughter because no one was there at my place to look after my daughter. So
Mhm.
many times it happened that I used to cry and go to the job
Absolutely. Me
because I
too.
used to feel very much guilty about what is this I am doing. Exactly, I'm
Yeah.
leaving the child and going. Even now, if I remember, I used to get very emotional about that because I didn't give much what a mother should give completely to the child. That way, I feel very guilty that time. But as and when we grow and become matured, then I think that, okay, it's a practical exposure to the child where we are making the child tough, mentally tough. Yeah, that was.
Right. Very true. True, true. So in the same way, when I talk about generation gap, in when we were children, generation gap was around 10 years or 15 years, maybe. But now the generation gap is 4 to 5 years, and it's going to reduce further
Yes.
because we are talking about a new generation altogether. Now, this is the time when we were children. I think we got good spankings on our back when we did not listen or we did not have a good discipline. But today's child is sensitive because maybe you can call it overprotection from parents or the information flow around. I remember very well, just yesterday, I was seeing a reel where the child has called the emergency care because his mother scolded him. So while disciplining, we need to have a correct and clear cut understanding about what you have prepared the child for. Suddenly, don't give them a surprise of a beating or a spank. No. And I would definitely say that eliminate the use of physical punishment. We should
Absolutely.
definitely eliminate it as much as possible.
Correct.
Shouting, screaming, and all that also should be removed. Emotional turmoil. However, for disciplining, we need something or the other. So, psychologist says reward and punishment. Reward and punishment goes with even adults today. If you want a reward, you need to do hard work in your company, right? So, reward and punishment is something which we can use it effectively and positively. However, we can define the punishment as much as because as a mother or a parent, you understand your child's emotional state. So if you have to make the child strong, you need to give punishment, of course. However, that can be defined in a socially acceptable and psychologically acceptable scenario. We can devise different kinds of, like I remember when I was a child, my mother used to make me do sit-ups like this, hold your ears and do sit-ups. Actually, this is a very good yoga exercise wherein your brain develops. So
Yes.
search something like that. Even leaning onto the wall and sitting like a chair. That
Yes.
gives you good, stable knees.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So traditional punishments which were given to the children are, I think they have thought about it scientifically. They have given such punishments wherein the child, of course, is disciplined as well as gaining some health aspects over there.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
I remember in one of the engineering college, one of our mechanical engineer professor used to give punishments to do the push-ups. So
Absolutely.
if they are
That
unable
we
to,
were,
if they are
used
unable
to
to do something, he used to say 10 push-ups. Come on.
correct. Absolutely. And we have
So
got all types of different types of punishments as well, which was actually
acceptable
we were not
punishments.
knowing that it is psychologically related, and it was helping us to for our growth only actually.
Absolutely.
So mental growth
Yeah.
can start from that stimulation actually, but we were not aware of.
Yeah.
We need to create awareness for the parents as well to understand these concepts and
Absolutely.
help the child to grow in a better acceptable manner, so that
Yes. So if you have to eliminate physical shouting or anything punishment, then how can you discipline the child? You should use logic. You should use logic to explain them, because I pretty well remember when I was a child, I used to have a lot of questions. I used to question everything. And one of my uncle used to discourage me. He used to say, no, observe and learn. Don't question so much. And he used to subdue me like anything. So I thought, as a grown up adult, I felt that when my uncle was saying this, maybe partially he's right. I should observe. But partially he's wrong as well. He shouldn't be subduing me because you don't know how to answer the question. You can't say, no, don't talk, don't ask questions, you follow. You can't say that. Search. Now today Google has so much of information, and how to answer children's age group for age wise also information is available online. So search for if you are unable to answer any question of the child, ask the child to give you some time. This will also help the child to understand that the person is not an encyclopedia, mother is not an encyclopedia. They have to go through some research to answer you. And might be the child will feel self-esteem also increases, that I posed a question which my mother can't answer me, you know. So
yes,
it would be very positive for the child to go ahead in terms of learning. And it will be a plaything for them, because children love playing. So it will be a play for them. So pose a question which I can't answer. You can be one of the curiosity generating questions that you can pose, so
here
that the
I would
child
like
develops
to
critical thinking.
yes. Actually, here what happens, many times we think that the way we treat the child is ordering way. That is not actually correct. Sometimes,
Authoritative.
since we are elder, we can't say the child to do whatever we are saying. That's wrong actually.
Mm.
So authoritative
But we should
character,
also, yeah.
look into
However,
it
we should
and
keep
then
in mind that we need to teach them. So they need to follow our instructions, because they are not yet independent thinkers. So the child should have an expression wherein he or she feels very comfortable expressing themselves in front of the mother or the immediate family members, whoever it is. It's not
that
only
that's
mother who will
something
teach.
that we take care for that
Yeah,
child can open
yes,
pose questions, and she or he
right.
can get answers from the parents. Correct.
So what we can do is teach them a proper way of communication. This is where communication starts. When the child starts with communication, there is a misunderstanding in the world that a lot of people say, people don't understand me. My husband doesn't understand me. My mother doesn't understand me, or my child doesn't understand me. My boss is not understanding when I'm telling something. So why is this coming? Because if people are not understanding you, the way you are expressing is incorrect. The error lies in you, not in others. So, for this, the foundation is childhood. Clarity of thought should be taught while the child is young, while the child understands how to develop thinking as such. Independent thinking, critical thinking, out of box thinking, which is in demand today's world. This is where the child lacks. No mugging up. Once the child is in the school, We are blaming today's school system that it is rote learning. But we should also look at the other side of the coin. When you have many number of children with you, that's what you can do.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
few things are inevitable. You can't avoid them. Few things you can't avoid them. But you sit and crib about it and forget about development of the child is error is with us. So in the given circumstances, in the given situation of education system, instead of blaming, search for an alternative where you can have some time, spend some quality time with the child, even if you're a working mother or father. Spend some time taking them to their grandparents, taking them to their relatives, taking them to the neighborhood. Today's child, if adolescent child is there in your house, if relatives come, they run into their room.
Yes.
They do not know
They don't
how
want
to even start a simple conversation.
Correct.
You are busy, you say there is a call on the mobile, you say your son or your daughter to take the mobile. No, mama, you answer. Because they don't know how to even answer them. Because without telling that my mother is taking bath or something, how can they tell them the other person? See, these are some embarrassing things that the child might not want to tell. But how to answer this to a stranger is should be taught by the parents or the family members. That's what I feel. So teach them proper way of communication. And a lot of children sulk a lot. You say no to something, they start sulking.
Mm.
So we should remember that sulking is attention seeking.
Okay.
They want attention. That's all. They are okay with not going to a movie. They are okay with not going to a friend's party. But how do you convince that to the child matters. We, in modern days, unfortunately, what is happening is in the name of freedom, we are giving too much of lenience. We as an adult is confused where to stop, where to hold, where to leave them or where to keep them free. Because there's a lot of things going around. I don't mind my child going to a sleepover. However, there are so many things going on when your child is not monitored. So you're scared as a parent. However, the child should understand when I come across such difficult situations, how should I tackle? So, for that matter, communication should be two-way. The parent and the child. Make the child sit. When they sulk, you leave them, ignore them for some time, and then make them sit and say and tell and explain your fears. My fear is this. This is what I feel. So, what do you think you can do to get me out of this fear? Can you help me? The child will realize the parent is not telling me as an authoritative person, but trying to understand the society. This is what I do with my child when there are news items which come on young children. We discuss. We discuss saying that this is you know what, this is what happened recently. If you are in that position, what would you do? Or if your friend is in that position, what would you advise that person?
Yes.
So
So
if
this
you
is
think
an
that child is
awakening for the child to understand the situation better instead of authoritatively telling them not to go out or not to go for sleepover.
absolutely,
It is not
absolutely,
wrong, but in a proper way, they need to follow certain protocols so that everybody will live in a safe and happy environment.
absolutely. This is where we mean as calculated risks. You know, there is risk definitely, but we have calculated it properly and we are equipping the child to face that risk. So
Absolutely.
in this way, what happens is the child will understand. You can't see parent or an adult cannot be 24/7, 365 days behind the child. It is very suffocating for the child. So they will feel that my parents don't trust me. That's why they are around me always.
And
So trust
this is
factor
where,
comes a lot.
correct. This is where when the child also start telling lies to the parent, because I have seen
Absolutely.
my own daughter's friends, so many are there. They are not telling the truth to the parents because of the fear factor. My mom
Yeah.
and dad would not leave me again to go out and no to have party with my friends or whatever may be the whatever situation. But they are very much afraid to tell openly that this is what I am doing, this is what I feel to do, and how do I go and check or whatever may be. So that is the thing we need to educate the parent in such a way that whatever points you have told to take the calculated risk in a proper way, explain the child, ask the child question, awakening question, so that they can understand why my mom is worrying about late night party.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And one more pattern which I see in young parents is avoiding the child with mobile phones. I know it is a menace, and I know that it is going to disturb or distract the child. They are not able to focus. Their nervous system is having problem. They are having neck pains and all that because of that watching and all. However, we should also see the other side of it. Uh, Today's 21st century skills are how to search information. Those days are gone when people will sit and read the books. Today it is more of, you have to know how to build yourself. We can't avoid technology. We can't avoid technology invasion at all. So as today's children, they have to equip themselves to a new technology. Hence we cannot say no mobiles. However, we can teach them. What we can do is to give self confidence to the children of how they can positively browse, how they can actually motivate and be able to use media technologies in positive ways, right? This
Yeah.
is this is what it is required for the child to understand how to use the mobile phones intelligently.
So once again, let's recall all the points what you have guided for our dear viewers and the parents and whoever is watching this series completely. So first is
Yeah.
we need to give freedom for the child to understand, and we need to explain logically what exactly worrying about the risk factor or the calculated risk, how we can make the child to take that calculated risk and understand the situation. And good way of communication can help them to understand properly why this is what exactly we are communicating. So that would be a great help.
So yeah, I started with Dalai Lama and I would conclude with Dalai Lama. I have a beautiful paragraph here where Dalai Lama explains how children should be viewed and what their perspective is. So allow me to read that, Suma.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Would like to
Any young
display this. So if you want to share the screen.
display, it's okay. I will read. I
Okay.
will send the text. You can put it in your recording.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Any young child raised with parents and carers able to respond with love, understanding, and clear common sense guidance has an excellent chance of learning how to relate to other people. First, the child discovers other people are fun to be with, that they will look after you and make you happy. Then later, the child learns others have rights too and needs of their own, and that by studying the feeling of these others, it's possible to make them happy too. So begins the child's pathway to being at ease with himself and with others, which generally leads to the development of confident and articulate adult who can be independent and yet also respect other people. So this
Wonderful.
is what Dalai Lama says. Yeah. And I am very impressed with this paragraph actually, because if you teach, that is what it is like this: you sow and you reap.
Yes.
So if you sow the proper seed, then you will reap the proper fruits. Otherwise, it would be faulty. So it is our parents or adults or the society which has that social responsibility to take next generation to the level it is expected to go. And this is where our India should process and progress. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Suma, for giving me this opportunity today. And let's see for a few more incoming series.
Definitely. I'm very much honored to have you here on my talk show. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your views and knowledge about the parenting tips, which are very much necessary for the present generation parents as well as the earlier generation parents to bridge the gap between the modern and the traditional way actually, so that which can help the child to grow as a better person and better individual and better citizen of our country. Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank
So we will be discussing some more important points in the next coming episode. I would like to ask you about the comments and feedbacks and what type of challenges you are facing in growing up the child. We would love to answer those queries. Thank you so much, and we'll see in the next episode. Thank you once again.